Well, this is the portion of our Sunday morning service that we devote to Bible prophecy. For the last couple of years now, we've been looking at what the Bible says will happen in the last days. This, of course, is because we believe that what's taking place today geopolitically is exactly what the Bible said it would be like. We believe we're living in the last days. Now, I can understand why there would be skepticism because many heretofore have said, oh, Jesus is coming back in our lifetime. So what makes this generation so special? Or how can we be sure that Jesus is coming in our lifetime? I believe it's because of an event that took place on May 14th, 1948. What happened? Well, by one vote in the United Nations, Israel was rebirthed as a nation. No other people group, no other nation in the history of mankind has ever been out of their land for, in this case, 2,000 years and then returned to their land, preserving their language and their culture. Now, what makes this so significant is that the Bible 2,500 years ago said through the prophet Ezekiel that this would take place, that Israel would come back to her land after being scattered from her land. Then in 1967, I believe I think things got accelerated a little bit. That's when in the 6-day war, Israel captured their eternal city, their eternal capital, Jerusalem. Since 1967, over the last 60, almost 61 years now, we have seen some remarkable events take place. I submit to you that these events that we see taking place are what the Bible said would take place in the last days. I believe we are the generation that will see the coming of the Son of Man. Jesus in the Gospels said, when you see the fig leaves return to the fig tree. Did you know that Israel's national symbol is the fig tree? Just like the United States' national symbol is the bald eagle. So, in other words, by way of analogy, Jesus is saying that when the leaves return to the tree, you know that summer is near. So too, when you see the Jews, the Israelites, return to their land, the tree, then so too will you know that my coming is near. And he took it a step further, remarkably. He said, when you see that, the generation that witnesses this will be the generation that will see the coming of the Son of Man. See, we have what the Bible calls a more sure word of prophecy. See, God said, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen before it happens, so when it happens, you'll know that I am God. And this is why we look to Israel as God's prophetic clock. Because all of the prophecies in the Bible, and by the way, a third of the Bible is prophecy. Did you know that? Did you know that there are no other religious writings that have prophecy? Why is that? Why are there no prophecies in the Quran? Because Muhammad is not God. See, the litmus test by which you and I can know and have that more sure word of prophecy is when prophecy comes to pass and is fulfilled with 100% accuracy. Not 99.9. 100% accuracy. And exactly as God foretold it through the prophets of old, it has come to pass with 100% accuracy. He's got a good track record, you might say. So now Israel's back in the land. Well, now what's going to happen when Israel's back in the land? What's next? Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, the Bible says that once Israel is back in the land, it's going to make the Arabs very unhappy. These are my people. My people are not very happy. And in the last days, there will be an alliance of nations, once Israel is back in the land, that will come together to wipe Israel off the map. Have you heard anything about this Ahmadinejad in Iran? How that his goal is, his mission is, his calling is. In fact, he doesn't sleep at night thinking about ways in which he can wipe Israel off the map. He hates Israel. And this is prophecy. So if you want to know where we're at in terms of last days events, all you have to do is look at the nation Israel. For the last 3 weeks, we've been looking at the prophetic significance of the recent elections for the office of prime minister. It was a close race, the closest in the history of Israel since becoming a nation. And it was between Tzipi Livni and Benjamin Netanyahu. And because neither had enough seats in the Knesset to form a government as is required for the prime minister, the president, who is Shimon Peres, would then pick who would be the next prime minister to form the government. Well, he picked Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, I have been following Bible prophecy for about 15 years now. And it's interesting because Benjamin Netanyahu was once prime minister of Israel. Now he is prime minister again. And I believe there are a number of reasons why this election, more than all the others heretofore, has such a profound prophetic significance. Now we're going to look at another reason today. The last 3 weeks, we looked at 3 of the reasons, and I sort of saved the best for last. It's one of my favorite prophecies in all the Bible. It's found in Ezekiel's prophecy, and here is the 4th prophetic significance of what I believe a Benjamin Netanyahu prime minister in Israel could in fact bring about. I believe it further unites Russia, Iran, and the world absent the U.S. against Israel under a new world order. Now, I realize that's pretty packed full of stuff. Let me try to unpack it a little bit, if I may. Did you know that the United States is not in Bible prophecy? Here's this most powerful nation on the face of the earth and conspicuously absent from the prophetic program in the last days is the United States of America. Why is that? How is that? And what is that happens to the greatest power in the world that would remove her as a world player in the geopolitical scene? Well, I found this interesting article from the Jerusalem Post. It was from Monday, February the 9th, with the headline reading, "Our World, Obama's New World Order and Israel." Listen to this. The world around us is quickly changing in new and distressing ways. I think that's an understatement. Bluntly stated, the world that will challenge the next government, speaking of Netanyahu, will be one characterized by the end of U.S. global predominance. The end of the United States. Kind of fits in with the United States not fitting in prophetically with Bible prophecy. The article goes on to say, in just a few short weeks, the new administration of President Barack Obama has managed to weaken the perception of the American power and embolden U.S. adversaries throughout the world. Take Russia, for example. Since coming into office, Obama has repeatedly tried to build an alliance with the newly emboldened Russian bear. This is Putin's new Russia. A week after entering office, he announced that he hoped to negotiate a nuclear disarmament agreement with Russia that would reduce the U.S.'s nuclear stockpiles by, get this, 80%.